Hey everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
And me, Banshee. And Sunny today has joined us for your Weird Week. And what a up and down week last week was it not?
Goodness, yeah. We think, though, we kind of got this one figured out.
Well, we were pretty sure last week that the cards are pointing to the looming debt ceiling, because the debt ceiling does not only affect America, it affects the world economies, and it just seems to be never ending and going down to the wire again. Oh, the drama. Anyway. We're still in a predicament, obviously, because I believe I said last week that I didn't feel that there would be any resolution by this week, and there's not, except there is a deal on the table now, right? Yes. But it hasn't been voted on, so that is the ticket. How about we now just go ahead and recap this reading?
Right, we'll review the cards we had and how we think they're applying to those positions.
To this debt ceiling, because we're pretty sure after talking it out, that's what it's about. We know there's other things going on in the world. However, let's see how these cards fit. The major focus or theme or tone for last week, according to our cards, was judgment upright.
And judgment is the root word of judgmental.
Yes, we feel that, both sides had criticisms. Democrats want to spend. Republicans want to cut from the poor, and back and forth and back and forth. And so there's a lot of criticism and critiquing going on, through this
in a way,
process.
Each felt they were toting a moral higher ground.
Exactly. Okay, so card 2. What we will find out, the mysteries, and that card was the Chariot upright. I think what we found was finally, after months of, we got time, let the Republicans present their plan, which of course they never did, but the thing is that, we got time. Well, the Chariot said, now we're moving.
Well, the Chariot talks maybe about being able to unite forces that maybe contradict each other. Disparate, that's the word.
Yeah.
And so maybe this is saying that we found out that even though there's a lot of contention, something was going to pull together, was looking that way.
Well, it just looked like now there was more drive, to me, more drive and motivation to get this thing done before the deadline.
That's a good point.
Suddenly reality's hit. So, yes, but totally your part of it really fits into that. These forces now have to come together. All right. So, card 3 was what other perspectives need to be considered, and that ended up being the Hanged Man upright. However, that's the Tarot of Oppositions, and we read both versions.
We try to find that middle ground or understand either perspective.
And it's a toughie, but you know what? With the Hanged Man here, a lot of thought processes going on, a lot of thinking about where can we find the middle ground. Who is willing to sacrifice what? What are you not willing to sacrifice or give up? And back and forth and back and forth.
It wasn't totally equitable, but there was that sort of spirit of compromise to some degree.
Well, I don't know.
More so on one side than the other.
I would say so, yes. But at any rate, card 4 is what is the overall impact? And that was the Healing Light Tarot, and we had the Strength card reversed. The overall impact is that, they kind of waffled a little bit there in the last week and acted like progress had stalled. And then, of course, everybody went home for the holidays, and lo and behold, they come back, and now we're busy. Now we have to push this through, ram this through, and somehow or another, they came up with a deal.
It's an application of force, but it may not respect the conventions of really understanding how people really feel about it, where their desires go. It's just sort of like trying to get it done.
Yeah, hammer through it,
Through it.
And card 5, well, what could win or lose the weird week? We have the 9 of Cups reversed. Well, there I think Mr. O called this one in a way because we were listening to some of the recording from last week, and he said, no one wins, and I said somebody doesn't win. But when he said no one wins and brought up the word compromise, there you have it. Supposedly even Kevin McCarthy said, even though they got what I feel was a little bit more than the Democrats really wanted to give up, Kevin McCarthy said nobody's going to be happy with this deal, or not everybody's going to be happy with this deal. He's right.
No one was hurt, but there will still be pain.
Yeah.
My favorite insurance commercial.
So Mr. O called that one, and it's very true. It's like the Nine of Cups. Yeah, of course, no one wins, but something happens. Something happens that, well, it's not what we wanted, but at least we passed the darn thing, and we won't have to deal with it again until 2025. But stay tuned, everybody, because it hasn't been voted on yet.
Exactly.
So we're going to have to see what comes up in the cards today. They may or may not apply to the situation. There's other things going on in the world, like the Ukraine situation right now. There's a lot of bombs being dropped by Russia and attacks, and Ukraine is about to mount a major counter-offensive. I don't know why they're telegraphing that so loudly. Also, Belarus's Lukashenko is taken ill again in Moscow and is in a Moscow hospital. There's all kinds of rumors swirling around what's going on with that. So, and there's more.
There's always something going on in climate activity. There's always something going on with guns and shootings.
That's right. Other things. All right, well, I am shuffling here the Twin Tarot. I'm going to cut it down here because something's in my way. And the Twin Tarot is a double major arcana oracle that has upright and reversed cards for each of the major arcana. All right. Oh my gosh. Hallelujah. I hope this is the death ceiling. Our focus for the week ahead is how to achieve success. How to, or maybe the idea that we have now achieved success in the light and what's next. It's as if maybe there is going to be some good news coming. The focus is on at least getting to that.
It's the sun upright, and the sun always means finding out things good, sort of bringing a light into areas that need light. It's a good sign for knowledge and inspiration. It's a good sign for
healing, happiness,
youthful expression, perhaps.
So not bad for the first card. Holy
so
moly.
Our focus is about really good things, sort of, working together, sharing the light.
Indeed. And so, Mr. O, you do card number 2, don't you?
Card number 2 is from the Secrets Tarot.
Okay.
And it's about what we will find out or see, or what we should or hope to.
What do you got there?
It's the Two of Cups.
Wow! What? What magic is this all of a sudden? A kumbaya of sorts. People coming together, partnering. Maybe there's a good partnership that makes things happen or develop. There's harmony restored. It just, well, gosh, I wonder what else is going on in the world, because it literally just seems almost too good to be true for the debt ceiling. What do you say there, Mr. O?
Right, it does look like a coming together. It seems like maybe if it's something we'll find out, we'll realize maybe that there was players involved who we're able to create that bond of harmony and trust. Who knows where this applies to? Of course, if it is talking about the debt ceiling, then it really looks like, somebody from the opposite sides of the aisle figuring out how to bring this in.
Sheesh. What a difference a deadline makes, huh? All right. Let's see what card 3 will be.
Right. And card 3 is drawn from the Tarot of Oppositions, and it represents the idea of what the other perspectives that we need to consider are. And it is the one deck in this reading that both of us shuffle. It is a jointly owned deck. And
Which I don't use very much on my own.
Well, I don't either, actually. I mostly only use it for this reading.
That's true. Okay.
But we could bring it to the regular stream.
We should at some point.
Usually after several months we decide to swap out decks, revise readings such as this. You never know.
Well, I do like our choice of decks, but yeah.
Keep shuffling those cards.
I will. I want this to be good. What other perspectives need to be considered? Sonny's even getting his energy on this. Oh my gosh. Well, I know Sonny. If I get the sun again, I know he'll be responsible. All right. It's the 3 of Cups. Is that upright? That is upright.
Mm-hmm.
That is upright. Holy moly. Happy days are here again. What is this? So what? Oh, okay. So this is what other perspectives need to be considered. Well, if we read this both ways, there could be a cause for a celebration and there might not be a cause for celebration. There's, and maybe also showing the duality of how people feel about this, this compromise, like just, this compromise debt ceiling, thing. That some are very, very happy with it and some are really upset. So, it could be. What do you think?
Well, one of the reasons why this deck is so good for a reading like this is because it does kind of compel you to look at situations where there is such a duality, and that lends itself, of course, to what the reading's purpose is, which is talking about bigger than life issues, bigger than individuals, like nations or countries or governments or whatever. So you look at that and you say it's exactly what Banshee says, the idea that, once again, in another way of saying it, nobody's really happy. Some people are very happy, some people are very not happy, but when you put it all together, it's just something that just sort of barely passes the muster.
It's almost as if we're reading it both ways, there's the highs and there's the lows and then there's the in-between, the meh. And you know what? I'm wondering if this is just saying it's meh. There's maybe the only reason to celebrate perhaps is the fact that we're not going to default, maybe, if this is about the debt ceiling. All right, so
the overall impact comes from the Healing Light Tarot. We had the sun in this position a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I got to write down those cards. I have not done, so I will. I'm going to make sure we can recap this next week. All right. Okay, what is the overall impact? The Page of Cups reversed. Okay, I'm going to let Mr. O run with that one. I'm going to write some cards down here.
Well, I'd say that the overall impact is people end up feeling, whatever the situations this could apply to, that they are out of touch with a part of their deeper self, their more intuitive or emotive self. People maybe are feeling like they don't care anymore. They've lost touch with a certain value of life, or maybe their view of life. And so it could just be because of, if we are talking about the credit thing,
the debt ceiling, just a loss of feeling good about how it was resolved, that maybe, bad deals had to be made. And this could be on either side, that there's a sense of discontent or unhappiness. Well, I think the overall impact, if we think about this whole situation worldwide and in the country, is the overall impact is this was very uninspired, and maybe it shouldn't have even happened this way. We should have just passed and paid our bills, because the bottom line here is now, there's this guarantee that if this thing passes as is, then that, the budget for the United States will be flat at 1% for the next couple years. And so that means there's no growth except for, what do you think? Military spending. And so, I think the overall impact is not just for Congress, not just for these politicians, it's for all of us. And it's showing that, there's no growth here. There's nothing good, much more, sure, programs that have been passed now by the Democrats will pass, but what does this mean for legislation they want to pass in the year or two ahead? If there's any money attached to it, it's not going to pass.
Right.
Or it's not even going to be considered, maybe, right? The only inspired thing I feel about this is the fact that we won't have to face this again for another 2 years. Woo!
Well, I don't know if I get that from that card, other than the fact that I feel still that with the Page of Cups reversed, the emphasis maybe on things that are more artistic, more creative, sort of takes a tumble. The impact could be that these are things that are affected by other considerations. But the value of life too.
Page of Cups reversed to me is also about being uninspired, unmotivated, and unimaginative. Ooh. In other words, this is just like,
it burns.
We want to cut something for just the sake of cutting money. It's like it's really uninspired. There's no thought about this. If, for example, the Republicans had a real plan, they should have presented it. But I don't think their whole group could get together to present a plan. And the Democrats, I don't know what to say. I think that they just, are willing to try to take as minimal a hit as possible when the Democrats control the Senate, they control the presidency. Why are we at this disadvantage all the time? But anyway.
5. What could or could not win the Weird Week?
Indeed.
Taken from the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot.
What you got? No.
2 of Swords.
Actually, interesting.
2 of Swords reversed.
Well, what could win the Weird Week? The right moves, the right decisions, the right choices.
Informed decisions.
Making a decision, passing or not, the legislation, but I feel passing and just paying the debt ceiling at this point would be a real plus. Moves are going to be made, though. Are they the right ones?
It is about movement, and the idea that the movement maybe still has a chance of going awry is important. When we look at the other factors here, we realize that it's more than re-achieving, harmony and maybe a shared vision.
Are you recapping?
Just slightly.
Okay, go ahead.
So the idea really is bringing back inspiration and feeling like we can make an informed decision here.
All right, let's recap, shall we?
Absolutely.
I think here with the focus of the week, the focus is on achieving success, getting this job done, completion. The sun is about shining a light on things, as Mr. O said. So hopefully...
Doing it on the up and up.
Right. Hopefully this means that, the light is on, that the realization is there that something has to happen and happen fast.
Well, if it's about the debt ceiling, you don't want any maneuvers in the middle of the night. You want it all to be above board.
That's true. Good point. So then we have what we will find out or see, the mysteries.
And it's the Two of Cups, and I think we may find out that somehow we find a reason to trust or to build some sort of wall. And, it looks like maybe it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship, if nothing else.
Now, it looks like alliances form to get the job done. There's some harmony. There's some agreement, I feel, because...
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, you're so silly.
It's okay.
Stop confusing me and interrupting me.
Never hard to do, is it?
Harmony, and we. So I don't know here. I feel that people are going to get along. They're going to get the job done. They're going to do what it takes. There's going to be partnerships formed here. Alliances. I just don't know what else. Like, for example, Kevin McCarthy is going to have to promise some of the people on his side in order to get them to agree to vote yes for this, right?
But it won't really matter because card 3 says some people will feel like winners, some people will not feel like winners, and it may be on either side of this.
Yeah. So back to card 2 and what I was saying is that I feel that there are going to be all kinds of maneuverings on both sides. Card 3 here, as Mr. O has so aptly said, there's just there's good things. Some people are going to be happy, maybe happy that it's all over and celebrating, and others are not going to be happy at all. And I think the American people and maybe even people in the world have to be a part of this, because the bottom line is, the world has to put up with us fighting this way, all the time, and it affects them. We just need to pay our bills.
And you all have to put up with us fighting this way too. Next card.
No.
I'm done. I already said what I was
Oh, okay. Next card. Well, as we know, what is the overall impact here? It is the Page of Cups. It's just really uninspired. It's like, they had to do what they could. They had to find money to take from somewhere to appease some people. And on the other side of the coin, people on the other side just may not vote for this in principle, the Democrats, because they feel like, why should we have to do this? Why should we have to do this?
Uninspired could mean unhappy, but it could also mean not really seeing value. And that's why you're not inspired, because you don't see a value you can relate to. You don't see a value that means anything to you. It's nothing that really drives you to feel any empathy towards.
Wow. Deep. Card 5. What could win the weird week? Well,
but we think it does.
I do think it does. There is movement. And usually it's movement towards, it's a decision. To me, the Two of Swords can be very, very neutral. But I have to look at what we see here. And I feel like this could be a positive move or decision coming out of this. Uninspired and, not the best, yes, but the job gets done, and partnerships are formed that make a move possible.
Well, the Two of Swords reversed always talks about being able to kind of move in a new direction and maybe having figured out something, a sense of the swords bringing some clarity there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to think that people make the best decisions, or at least good ones that they can, when they have information, when they can make an informed decision. So this is talking about moving forward with understandings of maybe where you really can move successfully, or what it is you have to change or alter, what compromise you have to make. And will you still stick with it?
So it's pretty clear, I feel, this right now, depending on other things that develop in the world, this is probably dealing with a debt ceiling crisis. And I will say here that when I look at that overall impact card, was that what that one is? No. The perspectives that need to be considered, the perspectives that need to be considered here are the people who want this to pass versus the people who don't. And
which is why it's on top.
Which is why it's on top, who want this to pass. The impetus is here, and these people aren't happy about it. And it may be, it's a nail biter, but I think it's probably, the impetus is it will pass.
You know what, Banshee? Somebody on one of the morning walk shows was talking about how this whole thing is so important because, of course, it's not just about, like if you don't pay your bills, what happens? It's like if the nation doesn't pay its bills, the whole world can be affected. And so that card applies to that too. The balance, the gravity of who is affected by this, and why it's so important to get out of that uninspired funk and pull ahead.
100%.
Good job, Banshee.
Good job, Mr. O.
Why, thank you.
We only fought a little bit. A lot less than they're fighting in the U.S. Congress right now.
And I would have won, too. Well, we both did.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us for another installment of Your Weird Week. Let's hope maybe once this crisis is over that the weeks will get a little less weird.
And we invite you to critique us, to give us alternatives. Maybe it's possible there's another narrative going on that this could apply to. So leave a comment. We'd love to see your feedback. And of course, we will be back next Monday with Your
Weird Week. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.